What's up, guys? It's a new Rushdown Radio podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Anthony.
Today we're going to be talking about content in fighting games.
Because we all seem to not know what that is.
That's such a, weird and there's no standardized, way of saying what is acceptable, what's not acceptable, what's content for fighting games. So I thought this would be a really good time to talk about it.
Because, well, fighting games are coming with, variable amounts of content these days.
Yes. They're coming with content, some games have a nice abundance, some games have little, some games have, I guess, an adequate amount, but there's no real way of defining what's the standard of what content should be in these games.
So, let's take it all the way back to probably one of the most successful fighting games out there.
Okay.
Street Fighter 2.
Yay!
It came with the arcade mode. And versus. That's it.
And options.
Oh, I'm sorry. And options.
That was about it.
Now, of course, for the times, that must have been fine. It was like, it's early days, blah, 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 it's fine. And we didn't complain because, let's face it, Street Fighter 2 was good.
Yeah. I played quite a bit of it. I begged my mom to buy me Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition.
Then, of course, a lot of games follow suit. Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat, a lot of other, random fighting games that may or may not have been really good. Kind of came with the same thing, game start versus sometimes training.
Yeah, Killer Instinct definitely had a training mode. I use that a lot to learn combos with Orchid.
And options.
Yeah.
But for the most part, not a lot of content. I don't think it was until PlayStation 2 era where we started to see the big stuff come out. Survival mode. Oh, maybe not that. Maybe
before that.
Maybe let's say PS1 era.
Yes, towards the end of the PS1 era.
Towards the PS1 era, we got time attack. We got survival mode.
Some games have story modes.
We got story modes.
Street Fighter Alpha 3 had one of the best single player campaigns ever in World Tour mode. Ugh.
I'm still waiting for a single player experience from a fighting game that's that good. No, I don't count Injustice. Sorry. I don't like that game. It makes me sad.
Wow. But yeah, World Tour mode, that's something they need to do again. That was incredible stuff. That was really good stuff. And then with Tekken, you had Tekken Force mode, which was also really good.
Which was a beat 'em up.
Yes, within the game.
With Tekken characters.
Yeah, that was just...
Because who'd have thought that fighting game characters made a good beat 'em up?
Who would do that?
Who'd have thought?
And then another good game that had really good single player mode was Soul Edge and Soul Calibur. Well, Soul Calibur came a little bit later, but Soul Edge definitely had a really good single player campaign.
Oh.
So good. Getting new weapons, fighting people, having different, a lot of stuff that we take for granted now. Back then it was such a big deal for those type of games. And then
Soul Calibur 2 had a pretty good first player. What was it? Weapon?
I think Weapon Master mode.
I love that one.
Yeah.
I can't say I played the first Soul Calibur.
I played them all, so.
So you will be able to help us with that.
Oh yes. Then 3 had you created your own character, and they had their own separate storyline stuff for Weapon Master mode, which was so good.
It has QTEs and everything.
Yes, it was phenomenal.
Soslamel was trying his best to murder you.
Yeah, he kind of was. But I enjoy games that have thoughtful single player content. I don't consider time attack and survival mode to be really content. You're just throwing enemies at me.
But people will defend that. People will be like, this is what we want. We want time attack. We want stuff for the casual audience. And that's fine. But is that really content?
I don't consider that content. I consider that more so busy work.
Because there are ways to even make it so that those things that are really mundane are not bad. They are meaningful or maybe more fleshed out or rethought. Blaze Blue is something that comes to mind when I think of survival mode being more than just survival. When they're using their abyss mode, where you can buff your characters with all these random things, maybe you get an attack buff, maybe you get a defense buff, but then you get crazy abilities You can no longer be hurt by projectiles, or you build like 500 times the meter you normally would. Crazy things like that. And it makes it so much more interesting. It changes the strategies. It makes it so it doesn't feel like all you're doing is fighting waves of enemies that are all the same.
Yeah. I like games that definitely give you like some type of like actual like incentive to do these extra modes too. Like I don't want a game saying, okay, play this mode and you don't get anything. Like I know DOA was a good game that I used to like, him. Like DOA 2, playing survival mode got you new costumes and stuff, which I enjoyed. So it made you actually, it made the mode more than just playing an endless run of enemies. They actually gave you a goal in mind. So having content is more than just throwing stuff at me. It's actually giving me a reason to play these modes too.
A good reason.
A good reason. And people love extra costumes. Like we love cosmetics. Like,
oh yeah. Cosmetics matter.
Exactly.
A lot.
So we've gotten to the Dreamcast era of when they have like a more sophisticated like content for games.
I kind of skipped ahead to Blaze, but we'll get to that though.
Yeah. We got the PS3 era, and then we kind of like fell off with
the PS3 era. We had games like Street Fighter 4 that gave us, it gave us stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of more of the same. And then Injustice came out and it had like this really robust, and the Injustice and Mortal Kombat, these really robust story modes, which were really good. Like I applaud them for their story modes. They're probably one of the only companies that actually can do a really incredible story mode outside of maybe Namco Bandai.
Yeah.
But content is where things got a little weird around PS3 era.
Because once we started really digging into the online scene, we started to realize people really want to play online, because now we've eliminated the need to have people in our living rooms to get the best experience out of the video game markets.
Yep.
Now we can play with people across the world, and it's still pretty amazing.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Like being able to play somebody who lived in like London or something and fighting games is kind of awesome, to be honest.
And we all focused on that, making sure that was the best experience. Now we have all these online modes. We have online practice. We have online tournament. We have online team battle, ranked match, casual match, battle lounges, spectator matches, all this stuff. We started shifting the focus, and that's when things got a little, I guess, polarizing would be a good word.
Yeah, especially in this current era we are in like video gaming. Like the whole idea of single player content in fighting games has really changed drastically. Like,
and not always for the better.
Yeah, true. I feel like now the way they're even making these games is merely more focused on the online aspect than it is the, single player, aspect of it. Like with DBZ FighterZ right now, it puts you directly in to like start fighting people. Like,
which I hate.
Yeah.
So much. I hate that this is a lobby based game.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
I mean, sure, traditional menus, I don't even think they're archaic. They're just, they're necessary. That's a design that, it's like, why wouldn't you want this?
Yeah, because it doesn't have a traditional menu.
No, it just dumps you right into, a lobby. And of course, you can play offline. It's not to say you can't. However, that doesn't mean that it's an ideal way to do so.
Yeah, I that was a little off-putting at first. Like, I wasn't too much of a fan of that when I started playing DBZ FighterZ. And I just looked at because I remember I was seeing other people post about different fighting games that are coming out, and then DBZ FighterZ and Dissidia came out around the same time. And I noticed a lot of people saying how little content Dissidia had, which shocked me because Dissidia, the previous two titles, had a lot of content. Like,
they had story mode.
The story mode was long.
They had 2 different story modes.
Like, the story mode was very lengthy. Like I'm talking like 100 hours almost for just one character if you're lucky. Like,
Dual Decim had 2 separate story modes.
Yes. They were long. And they were good too. It's just they were long. Like I think I only did Squalls in the very first Dissidia game. I spent 40 hours doing that.
I did all of them.
Wow.
All of them.
Wow. You had no life.
I didn't. I was dedicated to this game.
I see. And to see how Dissidia NT has...
And that was just the story.
Stripped all that away for this really like Okay, for those who are not aware of the new system for how they how you play story mode, basically you have to do a lot of like either offline combat or online combat to get points or these little like items to unlock the story mode. And the story mode is really like small and minuscule in comparison to the previous games. So it begs the question, what is acceptable for content in fighting games? Or does it depend on the fighting game itself?
And of course, we can't have this conversation without bringing up Street Fighter V.
Yes, definitely can.
Because its release was as bare bones as you can get.
Yeah.
There was no arcade mode. There was no time attack. There was no story. There was nothing to do except survival, offline versus, and online versus.
Yep.
Now, it's a much different game today.
Yeah.
But when it started, it was not a very good game for many.
Yeah, unless you were really, really into the whole PvP aspect of it. And
right, it was not a casualized game.
Not at all. This was for people who really needed to play this game to get good for tournaments and whatnot.
And perhaps that is where the idea of content comes from. Because a lot of, I want to say, pros, they don't really get too hung up in how much content the game has, because the first thing they're going to do is go right into training mode.
Yep. Same here. That's like my very first thing I did.
And when we think of content, we think of how much there is to do for the casual crowd, because we recognize that they are important.
Yes.
They are what help these games thrive. Because if we only focused on those who, I guess, really want to just go into the PvP aspect, they were only catering to a really niche amount of people.
Yeah, but it seems like that's what companies are starting to move towards, because the city is definitely going towards the esports market. Like, it's not even a question at this point. Like,
yeah, I know. For context, I did quite the write-up about my feelings about Dissidia. Didn't get them all out, by the way, but hey, I got a good majority of them out. The TLDR is, I hate that game.
And I think you hate it because of the fact that you were anticipating it to a degree, and the fact that how good it looks, and the fact that how poor it is.
I wasn't anticipating the exact same experience I got on the PSP. Maybe not the same amount of story. Mm-hmm. Maybe a sensible amount. But I expected the same kind of quality from the gameplay.
Yeah.
If not more refined. More, and I didn't even get that. The gameplay there is not more refined. It's not better. It's so shallow. It hurts. But that's not what we're here to discuss.
We're here to discuss the content in the game. And I think The City is a great example of a game that doesn't bolster the content that we expect. I mean, I think the way people are thinking about fighting games has changed a lot as far as content.
Yes.
Like, back in the day, you would have to have, arcade mode, story mode, training mode, versus mode, team battle, survival, like some weird extra mode, like, I don't know, you get like color edit mode, stuff like that.
And you know what?
Kind of miss color edit mode.
I kind of do too.
Like, shout out to Street Fighter Cross Tekken having the best color edit mode ever. That was probably one of
I still say that game's good.
It really is still good. Like, I would have continued playing that game had I kind of got swayed in by the FGC and how they saying how terrible it was, and then the fact nobody wanted to play it anymore kind of like threw me off, because I was definitely still into Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Even in the beginning of the era of the PS4, I found communities for this game, and I continued to play it until even those communities fizzled out, which really sucked.
I liked that game a lot.
However, content is also something we have to recognize of whether or not that content is good.
Yes.
Going back to Dragonball FighterZ, their story mode is boring. It's long and it's boring. It is such a slog to play through. Yes, some of these interactions are fun. It's nice seeing Cell be the roast god. But playing it is boring. Arcade mode is a joke. Because the shortest it gets is 3 fights.
Wow.
3 fights. I think the fights are like 3, 5, and 7.
That's crazy compared to like other Arc System games they've done that had like an extreme amount of content. Like Guilty Gear, a great example, had like God, it's mind-boggling how much content's in that game.
It had man on the mission mode. It had, I guess, yeah, that was his survival. Of course, it had time attack, really robust tutorial mode.
Very.
However, they made a weird shift in their content as well, where their story modes were cinematic as opposed to something you play.
Yeah. Which I liked when they did that for Sign, because they had English voice actors, so it was cool to like watch it progress, and you could still play arcade mode to find out how it got to that point too, which was fun.
Yeah, which is probably the better way to do it, honestly, because I thought that it was just, I don't even know how to really describe how I felt about the cinematic shift.
It was long, too.
It was like watching a really long movie.
It was like a very long movie.
And then they just went, I don't know why they took out the English voice actors. I guess it cost too much to have them come back, because they kept that cinematic style, but now it's no English voice acting.
Yeah.
Which made it weird.
Boo.
And of course, there are some that will be like, well, I don't care. I thought the English was neither here nor there. Okay.
Yeah.
Some people liked it, some people didn't. That's fine.
But it just made me actually want to care about the story mode more, because now I haven't done the story mode for Ref 2, and I probably won't. Like, I have no interest in it.
Yeah. But then again, there are also, and there's also games that do give you pretty good content, like Central Fiction's arcade mode is one of the better ones I've seen.
Yeah.
Where each character has paths to go down for their arcade mode, which I thought was pretty cool. Or Street Fighter V's arcade mode, where you pick a game and the whole thing is themed.
I love their arcade mode is ridiculous. Like, for a game that started out with like not a whole lot, for what it has now is incredible. Because not a lot of games would be able to do this.
No,
especially post launch.
I think it was worth the wait.
Post launch support for this game is probably unprecedented. Like, I can't think of many fighting games that's going to have this type of post launch like support.
And it was all free.
It was all free.
As long as you supported the game.
Yep. Like, I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of content for Tekken. Like, Tekken's done.
Yeah, Tekken's going to do their 2 characters. It's going to be over with.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yes. Injustice, after they get the Turtles, that's going to be it for them too.
Yeah, NRS does their games, I want to say annually.
Yeah, they do. I think they're probably I would venture to bet they've already started working on the new Mortal Kombat game.
Oh, definitely. I believe so as well.
Which is unfortunate, because they made such a big deal about Injustice. And I feel like the Injustice game just kind of like came and went. It came out in May of last year?
They don't have a lot of longevity.
They don't.
And the problem with that is because they're always patching it. Always patching it.
Yeah.
And I can go on about the ways they can fix the fighting system so that it's more engaging and better. I could go on ad nauseum about my problems with the way it plays. But the point is, for its content, it's weird how they don't last long.
They don't. I'm not too much of a fan of the whole loot box system in Injustice to get costumes and cosmetic stuff. I think that is like ludicrous. Like, you have to spend an absorbent amount of time just to get anything worthwhile, and you might even get anything worthwhile for your character. Now, some people would say, "Oh, well, that's the same thing you do in Tekken with Treasure Battle." No. Treasure Battle is a lot easier, and you get stuff for everybody, and you probably get stuff for yourself a lot more than other characters.
Yeah.
So, like,
it'll take time.
Yeah.
I think after about an hour of Treasure Battle with Gigas, I got all his stuff.
Yeah. Like, I remember I was trying to get beards for all the characters that had beards. I pretty much got all of them.
But you spend that same amount of time in Injustice.
Didn't get anything.
You want stuff for Batman. Good luck.
Like, I spent a good maybe 3 hours playing with Starfire, got like 2 things. Everything else with other characters, I was very upset. And then I got the mother boxes and opened those, and they didn't have anything in those either.
Of course, you could always buy more of the mother boxes.
Well, yeah, because that's the whole draw, because they want to make more money off loot boxes. So if they make it hard to get stuff in game, you're gonna be like, oh well, I could just probably get this loot box. But the fact that it's still a loot box is dumb, because that's not guaranteeing you anything. So paying money for DLC that might be what you want is terrible. So that's not content for me.
And before, I didn't spend any money. Good for you.
So with these new fighting games coming out, what do you expect to see in like the next few games that's coming out soon?
Let's see. From what's the one coming up? Soul Calibur 6.
Yes.
I expect an amazing story mode after what Tekken 7 gave me.
Yes, they have to. And the guy who was a part of the Tekken development is on Soul Calibur, so I'm expecting big things from this.
I expected something way better than what they did in Soul Calibur 5.
5 had a terrible story mode. Like, that was trash.
I am expecting... I don't even think I'm expecting weapon master mode.
Yeah.
If they had it, it'd be great.
It'd be awesome.
I expect some sort of time attack or something like that, but I expect it to be interesting. I don't know, switch up the weapons and whatever.
I need character creation mode. Like, that better be in there.
Of course, we need that.
They need that. That's a
staple.
That is too good. Like, I love that. That makes me want to play the game more.
Bring back busted weapons.
Why?
Bring them back because, as Marvel teaches us, the more a game is busted, the more fun it is. You can't tell me that those weapons in Soul Calibur 2 and 3 did not make you want to play these crazy things.
Those weapons made me mad.
Those weapons were great.
Made me mad.
They were amazing.
I mean, Mitsurugi had this one weapon, the Damascus sword, in part 2. That sword was too good. I was too mad.
Ooh, it was so good.
He couldn't block, but he took a lot of damage.
Man. Let him get 4 hits. It's a wrap.
So mad. I'm still mad. The fact that I remember that sword name to this day tells you.
And the soul edges.
Yes.
I still say Sun Mina had the best soul edge.
Oh, yeah.
But Nightmare's meat stick was still pretty good.
That was ugly.
That was an ugly sword.
But we say all of that to say that single player content is important when it's done right. If you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all.
Don't shoehorn it in. Don't do it for muscles. Because if you've heard some of our other podcasts, you've heard us say this. If you make it good, we'll buy it.
Exactly. That's why DBZ FighterZ is doing so well right now. It doesn't have a whole lot of content, but what gameplay it does have is incredible.
The gameplay is great, and the fan service it has is pretty good too. I just said the story mode was boring, and I stand by that. But some of the fan service conversations you can get in that game, I thought were just really good.
Yeah.
So good. Sell the Roast God is what we need more
Sell
of.
the Roast God.
You need to see him. Man.
Sell the Roast God.
Sell the Roast God.
That's too good. Because I just compare other games to DBZ. For DBZ FighterZ now is I consider to be the standard of fighting game content. Like, if you have a really good game, you don't need all these bells and whistles and crap to sell it to people. If
it has a story mode, it has replay mode, it has arcade mode, sort of. It has its battle modes, it has arena mode, and it sort of has lobbies.
And that's it. That's small in comparison, like Injustice and like Tekken 7. Yeah, it's selling way better than both of those games.
Then you look at games like Under Night and Birth that have scrolling, they have a scrolling options menu because they have so much stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait for that game.
Story mode, arcade mode, survival mode, the versus mode, customization mode, gallery mode,
score attack, time attack,
attack. So much. Maybe a little too much bloated extra.
I'm ready for the story mode for that game because I want to see what the heck the story actually is finally.
Man, good luck with that. Even knowing won't help you.
So I'm anticipating really good things from Soul Calibur 6. I don't know what I'm gonna get from Blades of Cross Tag Battle, to be honest. Like, I don't know what we're gonna get.
Half a game.
Well, they're saying the pricing for the game is gonna be on par with a normal game when the DLC is attached to it too. So we'll see how this goes.
They probably should have put those characters in there so it'd be a full game.
Like, if they charge maybe like $40 for a base game and you gotta pay like $20 for all the extra characters, I mean, that's not bad.
You all can't see, but I'm staring at Michael very angrily.
I know you are. They can't see it, but they should be able to feel it through the
I hope so. I hope my silence is loud and violent.
So, Anthony, what do you say you need from a fighting game as far as content?
Man, a good practice mode. I'd say a decent story mode. I don't need it to be too lengthy, but make it entertaining. Online that works. And I really don't need the extra tournament this, and I don't know, team that or round robin mode. I don't need all that. Give me ranked, give me player, give me lobbies, and I'm good. I don't need a whole lot, and I just need stuff to work towards.
All right, that's fair. That's a good amount. I think I need, if they're going to do a story mode, do a good story mode. Like, I mean, most games now have done a pretty decent one, so I can't really say anyone's done a bad one. It's just that maybe the writing's bad, but.
Tekken has increased my expectations of a story mode.
True. Gotta love that. If you're going to do arcade mode, make the arcade mode actually worthwhile, because I remember playing KOF's arcade mode and I was very upset. Because arcade mode in KOF 13 was really good. Like, you had interaction with every character. Even if they didn't know each other, they still had some type of cute banner before the fight started. And then when you played 14, you didn't have any of that. You had maybe like 3 scenes and then the end, and that was it. And you had like a really stupid looking like what was it? Pictures for the ending, and I was upset about that. So
yeah.
So please do it right if you're gonna do arcade / story modes, please. Or else don't have it at all. Like, I can do without it.
I agree.
And I'm not really big on team battle mode either. Like, it's there. If it's there, it's cool. If it's not, I'm gonna be okay without it. Tutorial, I think that's what I probably need the most out of everything. I need to understand how to play the game. Like, especially for games that are really sophisticated, like for Undying Births, tutorials probably needed, because that game has a very, very specific way to play. And every character is very different. So there's no one way to play that game. So I definitely need that. I appreciate Street Fighter 5 having tutorials, because those V-triggers, you wouldn't know what the heck to do with some of that stuff.
They got demonstrations and they got trials.
Exactly. And you need both to understand how these things work. So we need more of that.
Yes. Let's have modes where you don't have to go on YouTube to figure out the game.
Oh, God. I'm looking at you, Tekken.
And the Tekken community. Had
a whole sponsored, like, Tekken video series on, like, tutorials on YouTube. You could have just put those in the goddamn game.
It's a Tekken Bowl.
Oh, God, Tekken Bowl is so garbage.
That's the wrong one.
That is. We need, like, Tekken Ball. The one true one.
And don't blame the Wii U for making that not happen. They put that on the wrong system and you know it.
They definitely did. Tekken Ball is God tier. They did bring back Tekken Force mode. And not do it like the way they did in 6, because 6 was garbage.
Playing with just one character.
They could have kept that.
Stupid looking. Man.
Could have kept that. But
Lars looks stupid.
And I love Lars, but I was not happy about that. I'm like, why can't I only play with Lars, though? I don't know, but you have any final thoughts about content before we wrap this up?
I think I've said all I need to say. Make it good. Stop trying to give us stuff that, is garbage and say, well, we gave you this.
Exactly. Like, don't just give us content just for the sake of giving us content. Give us thoughtful, meaningful content that's useful and fun. So, yeah. All right, guys. What do you guys think about content in Fight Games? Do you think that it has to be a standard of having 12 modes? Do you think story modes always have to be in the game? Do you think arcade mode is a necessity to, market a fighting game? Let us know. Go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Rushdown Radio. Go to our website, our Twitter, Instagram, and check out our memes and whatnot. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.